Hello, everybody. Dumelang. Welcome to Blooming But-I-Fly. Some of you are saying Blooming Butterfly, whichever one works for you. We are just on a life journey together, and thank you for those of you guys who have subscribed. Those of you who are still deciding, click the button at the bottom. I am super excited for today's guest. Some of you might know him as Umkhele on The Wife. Some of you might know him as, what was your name on Hut of the Hunter? Uzuko. I know him as Bonko. Welcome,
Thank you.
Mr.
Thank you.
Khoza.
Thank you so much.
It's lovely to have you here today.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm nervous. Let me just own it. I'm nervous. I'm fanning out.
Go, use it.
I'm a big supporter of you, and now I'm
Thank
like
you.
fanning out.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that means a lot, right?
It does?
Because we go way back, so
Do
it's
you-
almost like
Do you get it
I
a
find
lot
weird.
from people who knew you before the
No.
fame and we fan out? Is it just me?
Yeah. Most of my homies are like, bro, what the hell? That movie was so shit. Type of thing.
No. Even if you've had crappy movies, not that I'm saying you have, I think I'm fanning out because I was saying to you off air
Yeah.
that you became exactly what you were
Right.
in school. And I think that's so amazing.
Thank you.
I really
did.
yeah.
We both did, right? And I think that's expanding on what we were speaking about off here. We both did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me put some respect on his name. Let me introduce him properly. So you are an actor, a SAFTA award winner, a Tribeca Film Festival nominee. Am I missing anything?
A husband.
A husband, a
dad.
father.
Yeah.
Your wife is here. You guys can't see her, but
Yeah.
April is here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the reason I wanted you here, Bonko, is because, I mean, you're quite out there. People know part of your story. But, on Blooming Butterfly, I'm interested in people getting their stories out there for the person who is thinking of doing the things that you are doing or, relates to your story. I think you've got a very interesting life story that can connect to a human being, to the average human being.
Yeah.
Like fans like me who are like, how did he get there?
Yeah.
People who look like us,
Sure.
so you're one of them. And one of my first experiences of you when I called you up for this was your humility. You're such a authentically humble, genuinely humble guy.
Thank you.
Where does that come from?
I don't know. Being broke.
Well, you get people who are broke that aren't humble.
Yeah.
Once they get whatever, like the money or whatever it is that they don't have.
I don't know. I think for me, the whole idea of I don't know, fame or whatever assumption people have of me, I don't personally prescribe to it. Like I don't know how it works. Everything for me is like everything that I have is I think a blessing or a gift, like something that I didn't feel prior entitled to. It's like I was gifted it. So it's not anything I've like earned, like it's grace.
Okay.
It's grace type of thing. So people might attach like a perception or like a something about you, about your circumstance or your success, and make an assumption and build an assumption based on that. But like I don't. So maybe that's what would make me just a normal guy, because I think that's where I start.
I think you underestimate how that doesn't come naturally to everyone. Like, as you're talking, I'm just thinking of who in your life as a younger boy would I see you learning that from?
Right.
It doesn't come naturally, especially in your industry.
Yeah.
Where, you gave me your number, like without even vetting me, for example. People wouldn't do that. Like, you're so accessible, yet I get the sense that not everybody has access to you. You have boundaries. I perceive you that way, but you're so accessible.
Yeah.
The fact that you perceive your talent as, what did you say? You don't have
It's grace.
It's grace.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, that doesn't come natural to everyone. I think
Okay.
you underestimate that.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I think firstly, between like when it's me and you, I know you, right?
Okay.
So I've known you since I was freaking 8 years old, 10 years old, bro. Like I don't know. Obviously, I'll give you my numbers unless I don't know, right?
Yes, I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're
Like
saying, but I think people
here,
get to your
okay.
position.
Wait, let me.
People your position in that you've always been talented, right?
Okay.
So I maybe get the part of you that's like, I've always been doing this. Oh, this is just who I am. But to the other person, including me who knows you,
Yes.
the amount of respect that you
Thank you.
then develop for somebody, or the respect for their work or their achievement,
Okay.
um, can tend to shift somebody
Okay.
out of that space where you're like, oh, I know you. Do you know how many people reach, and it's not only in acting or in that industry, they can be doctors or whatever.
Yeah.
Suddenly they get somewhere, wherever they somewhere is,
Yeah.
and they're no longer like accessible.
Mm.
They're no longer humble. Maybe they weren't always that way.
Right. I think that's maybe that could maybe be it. Where
Okay.
some of these I mean life I think slowly keeps revealing who you are, like who
Yeah.
you were always gonna be.
Okay.
And like for me personally, when I got a message from you,
Yeah.
I was like, Upulang, how's it going? Cool. Hey, bro, I haven't spoken in a while. How you doing? I think we even had a small stint talking about like friends, like when
Yeah.
last did you speak to the
Yeah.
homies back in the day? Da, 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 you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then we got to business, right?
Right.
And then it's like, okay, cool. And then for me, doing this and like, I don't know, existing right now with you doing this podcast and whatever, it's got less to do with me than it is more about like supporting you as
Okay.
a friend from back in the day, right?
Okay.
Because I understand grace, right?
Okay.
I understand doing something for someone, which is basically what my whole life has been based on, right? People have graced me. I mean, could be just above that, could be God, right? But my life has always moved in another direction through someone else helping me.
Okay.
So it was less about like, yeah, going to a podcast and like seeing it through the lens of fame and like, oh yeah, of course, I'm popular, I'm entitled to this. It's like, no, how can I use my access or use whatever. I hate these words like power, whatever. How can I use my little bit of fame to help Hupulang's podcast go all the way? That was it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But then I think humility from a personal point of view, I think it just comes from not having a lot. Like for me, like I used to maybe it's an imagination thing, but it's like when I look at this camera here with the tripod, like I'd stack boxes to make a tripod, you know? So it's always like I'd never be like without something. But you know you don't have it, but you'd make it work, right?
Right.
So it's almost like when someone brings you something, I had it in my head already. Like it existed already. I didn't wait in life for something to validate the existence of something. So when I'm in the space and I'm like popular or whatever, like in my head I'm just like, yeah, well, it's something that's like it's not mine. And like I mean things you can always there's always two sides to everything, and then as much as it can, it fleets as well. I don't know. I've just been humbled so many times in life where I'm just like, I'm humbled, being like, I've tried to be that person.
Okay.
I've tried to do that, or everyone has that side,
Yeah.
and it all depends how many times you get smacked till you learn. That's like, bruh, life doesn't work that way, or at least for me.
Yeah.
I prefer to be super chilled, ride the wave, because I know any day things could change, things could happen. And I've also took a turn. I'm very Christian. And there's a verse where Paul's like, I've been hungry, I've been full, I've been happy, I've been sad. I've learned to just cruise and be content. And God's grace is enough. You know, I live by those kind of things. And I think sometimes in my life, like, especially in my art, it's more about giving, because somehow if I stay empty through the act of giving, I leave space for God to fill me up.
Okay.
Right? So if you have money, spend it so you can make it.
More
you
space
know,
for more.
make more space for more. If you have grace, give it so you can have space for more.
Right.
So I'm never like in a place where I'm like, okay, this is it. I'm famous.
I'm
I'm
going to
happy,
offer you
or-
this today, though, because you genuinely underestimated. It's not everybody.
Thank you.
And so I think that's such a wonderful character trait to have. And just, going back on me saying earlier on, where's that influence from? I imagine if I were to spend time with like your family and your
Sure.
there's a thread of that. But yeah,
Probably my dad.
your dad? Okay.
Probably my dad. Probably my parents.
Yeah.
Obviously, look, I don't think that's it's hard to deduce. It's probably my parents. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's probably my parents. My dad's like one of the hardest working people
Okay.
I've ever come across
Okay.
in life. Still wakes up at 4:30 in the morning. Leaves the house at 5. You know.
He hasn't retired?
No.
Sure.
Still at it, bro.
Okay.
My mom retired a couple of years ago, which is where she's not.
No, they retire and they
get more busy somehow. Yeah.
There's still things to do.
So I just think that, and just like, yeah, man, there's something about. I lived a humble life. Let me just say that, bro. I don't want to call myself. I don't want to use words like poor or poverty or whatever, because we were grateful, but we didn't have everything.
Yeah.
But we had everything.
Everything.
You know, we didn't have all that other stuff, and I think sometimes not getting what you want is like a muscle, you know. So that when you are ready to maybe get it on your own, that muscle is much stronger.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, like if I had everything that I wanted back when I was a kid through my parents, I'd probably not have the energy or like the inspiration to do it now.
Okay.
And now is much more exciting because then I've got a daughter and she gets to reap some of that energy of like, I gotta get it because I never had it type of thing. But if I got everything that I wanted back in the day, it would be strange now because I'd be like, you
don't know how to go for it.
Yeah.
So let's just go back a bit earlier. You've spoken quite a lot about not being the cool kid in the cool groups and whatnot in previous interviews. And you speak about it as, but there was a sense of confidence and settledness in you, even in those earlier days. What did that kid struggle with, though? You know, I think like today it has worked for you. It's what, differentiates you and but back then as a little kid, mentally, what is the psyche? What is going on for that little boy who has to tell himself, no, it's okay to be different, whatever different means?
I think environments are very important to kids, because what I've come to understand about myself is that I'm a creative, right? I create stuff. I come up with stuff. Like that's my natural gift, right? So whether it was like writing raps, telling a story.
Got 8 Mile, remember?
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, I tell that story often. You know? So whatever it was coming up with things.
Yeah.
That was my thing.
Okay.
We had people who were very fast. Used to run, my nigga. I don't know if you told him already.
No, I don't know.
Bo pepura.
There's a whole one.
You are fast, bro. You know? And then you had people who were, you were also very book smart. So I think when you're young, your environment nurtures.
DreamStream, a place to create yourself. Record video, music, and podcast in our full-service studio. Dreamstream, a place to create yourself. Record video, music, and podcast in our full-service studio. Dreamstream, a place to create yourself.
Either nurtures or denies the individual's innate ability.
Okay.
Not to say I was not for that environment,
Yeah.
but like I would say that environment wasn't. There were times. I mean, remember Ernest?
Yeah.
Ernest is like still, after I hadn't seen him in a while. So we're talking about like a primary school friends. Ernest, I hadn't seen him in a while, and then when I went to NSA, he was just as good.
Yeah.
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 Like dang.
Yeah.
And that's because when he left, he went to NSA.
Okay.
Right. So he knew, or through God's grace, he knew that this environment will nurture this thing that I like to do, that I'm good at, even more. And I went to NSA grade, I think 10. So when I got there, I was like, I haven't been doing this every day. Like I'm good because back at the rugby school, the O's are like, they can't draw for jack, bro.
Yeah.
But now I'm around
Now
everyone.
you're with
like,
people who
who
do it.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think it's an environment thing. And I eventually obviously found myself in the right environment.
Yeah.
But I think
But internally, so
Yeah.
sorry to interrupt you. So when you say I was book smart, I actually wasn't. You maybe didn't pick up. I wasn't. I worked very hard. And psychologically, I went through a lot of like imposter syndrome. I still don't sleep till today. I will study longer than the average person. So if we are in the same class, even in masters, I'd say, you could be smarter than me, but you can't outwork me. It's still true till today. And there's an anxiety there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So for you, I think you miss the parts of the self-talk that you must have engaged with. Even the previous conversation now when you were saying, no, I'm just like humble because I'm humble. I wonder, like, do you miss the parts of you that actually you must be talking to yourself through these processes of.
Yeah, I wonder what the self-talk is. I think there's a slight fear of not wanting to be hit by God's humility,
Okay.
right? Because I'm like, but I can just do it myself. If I can pull myself back, because you don't want God to pull you back. Because then he pulls you back with your house.
Yeah, it's painful.
It's painful, right?
Yeah.
Then you're like, you're being pop. So I just choose to do it myself every day.
Okay.
Sometimes I've had, I don't know, and I have empathy. So I sit and I look at someone and I'm like, I wonder what it'd be like to be this guy, right? Sometimes I'll crack a joke just to see an oak smile, I'll maybe tease them just to, because I think those things are infectious, right? Sometimes the smile just needs to release a bit of dopamine, like you're tickling someone, And I feel that's nice when that happens to me,
Okay.
So I try treat people the way I'd like to be treated. Just try to be nice to them. I think because of the feeling when my mom's probably the nicest person to me, and my wife, they're particularly nice to me.
Okay.
Right? Not to and I'm saying in the world, but I mean for me, 80% of our interactions are really kind.
Right.
So maybe that also just transfers to what I understand interactions to be. Okay. But also at the same time, it makes me very anxious about confrontation because I don't know what that looks like, right? I don't know how that's supposed to go. Do we argue till we punch each other, or what's the point of tapping out, or you know what I mean? Because I don't know that. 80% of my life, or the people I'm closest to, are nice people to me.
Nice doesn't mean we're not disagreeing or there's no confrontation. Maybe it's the way we disagree. And
Look,
you've had people who have healthy ways to disagree with you, is what I'm hearing.
Man, it's very, I don't know.
I can be nice and still have boundaries and still call you out and still confront
Yeah,
you.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know what I
Obviously,
mean?
they're not telling me my ears don't smell. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm saying, like, if I think about my mom, I've never had an argument with my mom.
Okay.
Like, we've never tatane, like, no, you and you know, like, ever. She'll be like, and I mean, like, obviously, it depends on who you're asking on what's good or healthy or not.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll know when my mom's not okay about something, maybe that I had something to do with.
Mm-hmm.
We'll speak about it. She'll get mad, like, nah, doesn't want to talk, da da da.
Mm-hmm.
Give it a few days, and like, I'm also dealing with people who know how to kind of heal themselves.
Okay.
My parents are, I would say, borderline life coaches.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're in that space.
Mm.
So you're also dealing with someone who knows how to regulate their emotions, someone who's like also quite self-aware of, if I say this to someone now, what that can mean later. So, and also knowing that, like, my responsibility is what I let out. That's the
Right.
only thing I can control. You
Right.
can't control how Hupalang's going to receive something or take something or feel about something, even though you might have meant it a certain way or not. So by inheritance, I'm the same, right? So, but also not being an artist and the whole idea of being free. And then there's the whole idea of, like, not giving a damn about what people think.
Insane.
Right. And also this age of social media where it's like you have to just be yourself. I probably on the daily have to interrogate that and balance that to be like, okay, what are the boundaries? Like, because when I get on set, I can't compromise. I can't afford to compromise. Can't afford to be a nice guy.
Right.
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 It's my face. This is me. This is what I do. It's my time. It's my turn. Right. Then
Yeah.
it's like, how do we do that still without offending this guy? But also it's like, but I'm not here to nurse your feelings. But we
Yes.
still have to work together.
Yes.
So it's like, it's a very tricky thing. But I mean, going back to the self-talk, I think it's just the people I'm around are very nice people. And I don't know if it's a watering thing, right? It's an osmosis, the ecosystem is like, you're nice to them, and then, because I do believe in life, you get what you give, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I've never been slack to anyone, bruh. Me.
I wonder.
Tell
us.
Yeah, maybe they'll tell us. They'll tell us.
us.
But I walk around like, yo, bro, yeah, I mean, I don't go on praising everyone, but it's like, bro, if I got no issue with you, I got no issue with me. You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
And I mean, and also creatively, a lot of your roles are very aggressive, actually, for somebody who's the complete opposite. So, like, where does that come from? Like, how do you channel that part of you then? If
Like I say, it's not non-existent. Right?
Yeah.
But it's being balanced.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm using it to serve me as opposed to not serve me.
Right.
Right. So I think in storytelling, in the world of stories, that's completely okay. Right. But in normal society, I don't think that's okay. Mkhele can't be a real guy.
For some people, he is.
For some people, he is.
That dude is like very prevalent.
But then that's where you'll step in, right?
I try.
Yeah, that's when you mean, that's where we all as society try to help remedy these things.
Yeah.
But I feel if I'm Bonko, in my head, there's no reason I'll be acting like that nigga in real life.
Have you ever gone for therapy?
Yeah, I do.
You do?
Yeah.
Okay. You're very self reflective, aware. And it's not only through therapy that I believe people go through. You're a very spiritual guy. I mean, you've mentioned God a couple of times. So I'm always just curious how that process looks for everybody.
Thank you. I mean, I get that a lot from
You don't. I don't know if
therapist.
you recognize how healthy you come across. You just don't have the terminology for the things that you're saying. Like it's boundaries, it's healthy conflict resolution that you're speaking about. It's I hate this word. Reciprocal.
Yeah.
Giving what you want back.
No.
In case
Oh.
next time in an argument, she said, "I'm healthy."
She said, "I'm the healthy." Thank you. I mean, the first time I took on therapy, that's what the lady said.
What did she say?
She says, "You're very self-aware." She's like, "Why do you want to do this?" I'm like, "I don't know. Aren't these like the steps to take when you're a man?
You want to get to know yourself.
Yeah, you want to get to know yourself." She's like, "No, dude, you sound like you know what's going on in your head because you're explaining it to me."
What were you going for?
So at that point, I was working a freaking office job and like doing auditions and stuff, and I had like a little bit of anxiety about quitting.
Okay.
And just doing acting full time.
Okay.
And then it was very pricey. That's why I couldn't continue.
We had this conversation.
No, we had this conversation. Let me not go there.
How expensive?
The initial consultation was free, and she was like, "Bruh, you've not fine," but I mean, she used that word. But she also gave me a term that I have a limiting belief.
Okay, limiting self-beliefs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, because she was like, everything sounds fine, but it's just the way you're perceiving the way things would go and what you're capable of.
Do you feel that you ever struggled with like imposter syndrome? Is that what she was talking about? Like,
no, not imposter syndrome.
Okay.
Because I understand imposter syndrome to be kind of feeling like you don't deserve
and belong, or you
and
can't.
belong. No, I don't have that. Okay. I have. Wait, does that have to be at a current situation? It could be.
So no, what was the limit? What was the limiting belief at the time?
I think I didn't have. I didn't have faith. That what I'm imagining could happen.
Okay.
And that was pretty much the turning point where I started becoming like very, very Christian, or like leaning more towards the Bible and understanding what faith is. Thank you to my beautiful wife, who, was very supportive in that. And like once I understood God's role in everything,
right,
and then I think that kind of helped, but it still happens now because people go, you should be, I mean, every actor probably has this ambition of being in Hollywood and going and whatever. And it's like, sometimes when I think of that, I'm like, and my mind will start not justifying, or like, but like, you don't have to, you can't, start thinking of ways to kind of make it safe for you not to go.
So earlier when I asked you, what did that little boy, like what did he go through psychologically? What were the thoughts? Would I be correct in guessing that one of the thoughts could be things Hollywood doesn't happen for people like me, or to that level, or...
Nah, okay. I'm trying to get to it. Like for me, about myself, I think I'm the man.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like, and those are things I say. I choose not to say outwardly.
No, it's true though. It's confidence.
It's confidence.
It's confidence.
But like, I dig who I am, right?
Okay.
And how I'm like controlling it in my head.
Okay.
Or like controlling myself. I dig it. There's the discord probably happens when I start thinking about the future.
Okay.
And
DreamStream, a place to create yourself. Record video, music, and podcast in our full-service studio. DreamStream, a place to create yourself. Record video, music, and podcast in our full-service studio. DreamStream, a place to create yourself.
change
Okay.
and how long I can remain this person,
Got you.
right? And my biggest, like, I'd say the times I really hated life was leaving primary school, going to the Afrikaans school,
Okay.
was probably the worst 2 years of my life.
What? That was very shocking for me, actually. I think like a lot of us left,
Yeah.
and where people went. I mean,
Yeah.
back then it was either like on,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
schools
Yeah,
that
yeah, yeah.
there were people who were like, of course you're gonna go to Munjo, of course you're gonna go to Sudan.
Yeah.
You president, that caught me.
No, that wasn't my
off guard.
choice.
Okay.
It wasn't my choice. It was like a last resort thing. And that's because we never had nothing, bro. You know,
Okay.
I think my parents, don't know why I didn't go to St. John. It was literally up the road.
Okay.
Oh, yes. We had like a little scholarship thing
Okay.
as president.
Okay.
So,
Because when you ended up at NS, I was like, yes.
yeah.
For me, it was like of course, yes.
No,
Okay.
that was like the worst, bro. That was
Yeah.
like being a freaking fish out of water, right? But then I think everything corrected itself eventually. But otherwise, I've always been, even at prison, by the time I left, I had like, you know, I had a gang of homies, bro. Like, you
Yeah.
know,
But that must have been tough to your creative side.
Yeah.
Like, for 2 years, maybe perhaps feeling limited to just like
yeah.
be in your fullness, who
yeah.
you are.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yes.
To be in your
Your
fullness.
fullness.
But I also then sometimes what that made me learn is that we're not made to be, you know,
To be what?
in our fullness.
What do you mean?
We're
not
not.
made to be.
You're not made. You're not created to freaking drive the car at 240.
Right.
We know that it can.
You're right.
It's really unsafe to drive a Ferrari at
All the time as
all
well.
the time at that speed.
Yeah.
Because the same people that made it also made the brakes,
Yes.
you know?
Yes.
And the brakes are also quite high quality.
Yes.
Right? And sometimes you want to drive and enjoy the leather seats. We're like so much more than
Ooh, you just gave me such a cool analogy for my clients who
I
are
take
these
10,
high.
I take 10%.
Okay.
What's this? Let me hear it.
No, I'm going to use that analogy for clients who have these unrelenting standards and they go,
Yeah.
or the narcissistic
Yeah.
kind that are just always in
Yeah.
this.
Yeah. It's weird. No, you can't, dude. I someone the other day asked me, so how's so weird, like how's your work life and your home life? And I'm like, that's weird, bro. There's only one life. I'm like, I'm telling you.
Tell me more.
I'm Bonko who goes to work and comes back at home. It can't be two lives because when I get home, I'm tired from work. It's not like I reset and then I'm suddenly, a different guy at home. And I can't also take off a mask and be, because that's denying my family of the honesty of what I am.
This is how I get why that therapist said you're fine, right? You sound to me like you did a lot of work as a youngster, as a young adult, by the time you got to therapy without realizing it. If there's one thing I want you to take out of this conversation with me today, is that you don't realize a lot of the work you've put into yourself. I think you take a lot of positive traits in yourself for granted. Like the amount of accountants, psychologists, doctors that are doctors at home and their interpersonal relationships struggle with their wives, their husbands, their kids because they don't have one life. They put on a mask or they are. That is something people need to learn to do sometimes.
Right.
Like, for example, if I have to, me, a lot of people, once you get to know me, my friends can say, no, she's not always a psychologist.
Yes.
People who meet me for the first time, like, are you reading my mind? No. Are you psychoanalyzing me? I'm like,
Like, no.
you couldn't pay me the amount of work it takes, and
Yeah.
you could, to do it for free or in a social setting. I'm just here as a human being.
Right.
A lot of people don't have that skill.
Mm.
A lot of people go home and they Mr. Khoza to their child.
Mm.
They are this person.
Mm.
Yes. And they are famous.
Oh.
They're not in the coffee shop just having coffee. but it's true.
That must be very exhausting.
So I think you take that work for granted. Maybe it didn't feel like work for you because you're saying, you've been fortunate enough to be surrounded by an environment and people, places, and things that maybe they also not like that.
Yeah.
Like your wife is very down to earth. So I think it just trickles down into your life without recognizing it.
Yeah.
Or somebody naming it that, oh, like this is the purpose.
This is what you're doing. Interesting. I mean, acting, the craft of acting also, I think, for me, helped me build a level of empathy and understanding of human beings, and trying to create not just an honest interpretation of a human being, but like a cool one, right?
Mm-hmm.
It becomes maybe that's where half of the work happens, right?
But also the reading. You read a lot.
Yeah,
You-
not like. Look away.
Not what?
Yeah, I do. I'm joking. I don't read that much. She was gonna come in and say.
Okay, let me put it this way.
I used to read.
You
a lot,
used to read a lot,
yeah.
even as a kid.
Yeah.
I mean, if I give you a sense, like, like in primary school, you used to have a bigger vocabulary than most of us. Like, you've always been philosophical. I didn't read a lot, dude. Like, the reason my mom was like, you can't be a lawyer, like, you don't read.
Yeah. And that's a lot of reading.
There's a lot of reading, right? You actually did. And so I imagine that then, without realizing it, you encountered a lot of stories and autobiographies and just whatever books you read that help you do the work. So I saw recently you're with, I hope I pronounce it, Katu, ne? Katu.
Yeah.
Katu, my
maestro. Yeah.
And he has that book, Healing Out Loud.
Yeah.
Books like that are the work.
Or yeah, I guess so.
You
yeah,
get what I mean?
I was big into self-help. There's the secret. Gotcha.
Yes.
Yeah, I was big into like Eckhart Tolle, Krishnamurti, Alan Watts, Osho.
That is the work.
Absolutely, that was the work, bro. Yeah.
It doesn't have to be in a room with somebody like me if you're engaging with things like that, because if you're engaging with books and topics like that, there's no way you're not self-reflecting or thinking about yourself. You know?
Yeah, that had to be it then. That really did, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but that was probably from like grade 11, going that way. Coming this way.
Coming this way.
Yeah. Because my first book was it an Osho book? Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
What's that?
Osho is a writer.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a guru.
I shouldn't have. I knew when you came here that I stand the risk of being shown that I don't read enough.
No, I don't read that much either. I've got a little novel in my bag that I carry to work.
Tell me about Osho. What's that? What does he write about, or what are the books?
Dude, it's one of these philosophers. I forgot what book it was. It had to have been. I think it was gifted to me, a book called The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. It was like
I know that book. I didn't know the one. It's so embarrassing.
Yeah. It was a book about like the present.
Yeah.
The present moment. But I think what really changed for me was the Inward Revolution by Jiddu Krishnamurti. And these are theories, ideologies that I still live by today. That we are the world we create, like we're all one consciousness reflecting each other. So everything you see in the world is you, by virtue that you're the only one who knows you exist, but by virtue that something else is in front of you and
Yeah.
proving to you that you exist.
Yeah.
So it's like, I need you, right?
Yeah.
Number one, I need life,
Yeah.
to feel life and experience life, because we don't know what's on the other side of life. I think we create ideas like heaven and earth and things on the other side of the coin, because we have the anxiety that there has to be another side of the coin.
Because what happens if there isn't?
Yeah, what, and that could just make you live terribly anxious, right?
Or reckless.
Or reckless. Yeah, 100%. So, but at the end of the day, this is all we know. We don't know anything else, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, he has a quote that says, "The observer is the observed," right?
Yeah.
So it's like, I am what I'm seeing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I
And
think that's what makes me go, if I make you laugh, then we're both laughing.
Yeah.
For that moment, life is pure laughter.
Right.
That's nice.
Right.
Yeah. And if I send something out into the world that's apparently me,
Yes.
I'm almost,
I'm gonna see it and get it.
yeah, I'm almost gifting it to myself,
Right.
Yeah.
Tell me about your draw to Katu and his work. I was watching an interview of his where he was talking about the black sheep of the family is the one that heals, the bloodline often.
Yeah.
Do you relate to that?
Oof. I mean, Kato and I have a lot of parallels. I mean, he's my brother, and not because we've chosen, right?
Yeah.
It's he's one of those people in life that I was like, where have you been all my life?
Yeah.
Type of thing,
Yeah.
right? But yeah, Kato is someone who has a voice that's able to just kind of highlight or circle things that almost feel like the obvious, right? And I'm a big believer in the saying, it depends who you ask.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Because it depends who you ask.
Right.
But to me, yes, I think the whole idea that the black sheep or the rejected stone, will be the cornerstone, right? That is kind of the age-old thing, right? It's like there's something about being rejected or being made to know you're
Different. Yeah.
gives you a level of self-awareness that just makes you move differently.
Okay.
At its fundamental, I think that's what it is, right? It's like same with me. My siblings are academics.
Yeah.
So if they're all academics and I'm not doing what they're doing, and I don't fuck with what they're doing, what am I?
Right.
And isn't that the greatest question we can ask ourselves?
Right.
So
you brought that I mean, we all bring different elements into our family, but you perhaps then healing bring maybe that element into your family where difference is, it can have a connotation of positive. It's not necessarily something to fix, something to change.
Depends who you're asking.
In your family, if I had to ask, was that your feeling?
I mean, in my family for sure. No, I
Or
don't
was
think
that something you guys worked towards? Like your parents, I've heard you talk about your parents' influence on your career, and your dad at some point was like, I need you to get a job.
As every parent. That's what I'm saying. And it depends when you're asking, right? 'Cause
Yeah.
at some point, it's like,
Yeah, so then the healing in that bloodline is,
I don't think it's healing.
how would you describe
I mean,
it?
there's my family, my family picture. I have little influence, if any, right? Besides that, they get to enjoy a kid who's a celebrity, and maybe also the good and bad that comes with that. Like, there's nothing I've done, maybe, but there's nothing.
I disagree.
I don't know, fam. Maybe it could be, but at the end
Think
of the
of it
day,
this way.
I hear what you're saying, and I see how you could see it that way.
Think of it this way. You now have a daughter
Yes.
whom...
Dreamstream, a place to create yourself. Record video, music, and podcast in our full-service studio. Dreamstream, a place to create yourself. Record video, music, and podcast in our full-service studio. Dreamstream, a place to create yourself.
who now has grandparents.
Yeah.
When she grows up and she decides, I want to be whatever,
Yeah.
she's likely to be met with less restriction to that thing that may not be the norm in this bloodline, Khoza.
Yeah.
Because you were able to be yourself, gives permission for the next.
Right.
So I don't think healing always has to be this awfully dramatic, painful, traumatic thing versus shifting mindsets, perceptions, permission in the family structure.
Got you.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
She probably is going to have the blessing of a granddad who says, oh, okay, you want to grow flowers for a living? We don't know what that means in this family, but great. And less of maybe attention or having to push barriers because you broke that for her.
Dude, I'm thank you, but I really can't, you know.
Okay.
I really can't.
You can't receive it. What can't you?
Like I can't take any of the credit because it really starts from the head of the house. I'm a result of my parents' thinking. I'm a result of my parents' permission. You're right. Like I only maybe belonged to myself after like 19, 20, you know, and started moving on my own, which also was a no friend. Was an effort for a long time, you know, and it also became going back to them, you know, as like a wounded little soldier, a prodigal son, you know. But it's not me. It's grace. I'm only allowed. I'll tell you what's grace, dude. Grace is being in a freaking Afrikaans school and drawing like a dissection in science class.
Yeah.
And the teacher calling your mom saying, this kid has got a gift. He can't be in the school. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So even then, my parents can't also take the credit for that because they were like, nah, he's going to go to the school. So it took God telling this teacher to say, yo, you're going to have to go against your job. Instead of bringing kids into the school, you're going to have to send one out.
We are healthily going to disagree a lot in this conversation.
Yeah, for sure.
Let me tell you why.
Why?
I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
It's a collective grace, right? I hear that part.
Right.
But you get the kid who stops drawing and doesn't give himself permission to continue, right? Because this is the school I'm going to, this is the circumstance I'm in. And then it also takes the parent at some point hearing it, even if they're not financially contributing to it. So I don't know what it took for you to get to NSA eventually. It takes the parent that says, yeah, keep coming back home. There'll always be a home to come back to. And the child that then allows themselves to go back home. There are kids who won't.
Sure.
They can't.
Okay.
They just can't.
Okay.
So there's barriers being pushed back and forth there.
Yeah.
And it's not only like, I feel like yours is lopsided. It only goes to the teacher and your parents. And you miss the part where you participate. God can give you everything. But if you don't participate, nothing is moving. Nothing is activating.
I hear you. I think maybe because it's me, I can't be like objective about it. But it's like, it never felt like a choice.
Okay.
Right? Never felt like it's a combination of being like so afraid that you run back home type of thing, right?
Right.
So it's almost like, it's not like I sat there going, okay, do I wanna, do I not? Or
Yeah, it wasn't conscious.
yeah, it wasn't conscious. There was never a pride outweighing something else. It was like, okay, fun's over. Time to go back home, you know?
Just
And
because something's not conscious doesn't mean it doesn't have a behind the scenes process
no, for sure. I'm
happening.
sure there's something ticking in the back. And I also feel the same for everyone else, right? I don't think, and that's why I'll go back to environment and how environment nurture, or, for lack of a better term, feed a certain wolf. You know, they say you feed, it depends on what wolf you're feeding, type of thing. And most people also, when someone has too much pride to do something, or someone's narcissistic, or someone is like got an ego, or like, I don't think those things are necessarily conscious.
Yeah.
You know, I
Most
think
times it's not.
most times, I think sometimes, dude, if you have to sit, unless something is like clinically wrong with you, sometimes you look in the mirror and you're yourself, is this right or is this wrong? You know, we all get that. We all have that choice, and I'd like to believe it. Most people would do the right thing, but if you don't, there's probably something going on there, brother. Yeah,
That's why I'll never be out of a job
yeah,
because a lot
yeah,
of people don't.
yeah.
A lot of people don't.
Yeah, I hear
So it keeps me in business. Let us move to other parts of you.
you. Okay.
Your beautiful wife that's sitting here. April, the Sekho. So you speak a lot about how you feel like she has a lot of patience for you, or has had a lot of patience for you, and you really admire that part of her. Now, as like a wife and a mom, what is the one thing that you're like, this has made me fall more in love with you, or all over again? Not that you ever fell out of love with her, but she's evolved by virtue of role shifting or role extension, not shifting.
Um, I think with Lesotho, it's like I admire her, like her fight, right? Because in as much as like we're all dealing with our traumas, our childhood traumas, and I think Lesotho is someone who is able as an adult to identify like things that might come with, I think she's probably just as self-aware as I am, right? Because she can sit and be like, I think this comes from this might be from this, or like my mom acts like this, or and I did the same with my parents. I don't call my parents, I respect the picture of my parents, but they each had their own flaws. And it's up to me to like take some on and unlearn some.
Yeah.
Right. And I think she's able to. She's got the emotional intelligence and like the psychological intelligence to do the same thing.
Okay.
And that's what I admire, because that's a grown up thing to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a grown up thing to do. And she's an amazing mom. She's got a beautiful inclination to nurture, and when I see her with the baby, I think that's probably like what I was reaping the whole time, right? Now
Yeah.
the baby kind
Not
of
shared.
the baby kind of took my spot. I'm like, hey yo, that was
my wife.
yeah, that was me, bro. But that just forces me.
Have
to
you seen the
man up.
videos of the dads talking to the babies against the wall to be like, I want my wife back.
Yeah, I want my wife back.
I want my wife
Yeah.
back. Like, you gotta go.
Yeah. So she's been she's been an amazing mom, like so natural at it. And yeah, I don't think it's patience for me. I just think patient in general.
In general.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is difficult for me. I'm very impulsive.
Okay.
Very which is also a fear thing, right? Like I'm just like, do it now, do it quick, get it done.
Okay.
Yeah. Think yeah, that's I think it's based on fear. But it's always very strong. She can wait things out.
Okay.
She can take her time with things. If she's got an idea, she kind of doesn't mind simmering for a couple of weeks, a couple of days with the idea,
Something.
you know, putting it together. And I'm like, that's so much care. That's very careful.
She has emotional tolerance, I
Yeah.
would say. She
Yeah.
can tolerate a lot
Yeah.
of difficult sensations.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think I wouldn't say difficult. I think she doesn't rush.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, in our home, we're allowed to feel what we feel.
Okay.
You know, I think emotional tolerance is it shouldn't border on self pain.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
like you should speak. If you're sad, you should cry. If you're angry, you should let it out. You know, and that's what I've learned. I'm the psychologist at home, right?
Are you the guy?
I'm the guy. Like, oh, really? Okay, what's happening? No? How does it make you feel? You know, and I've learned to just shut up.
Okay.
'Cause-
That's a good advice
Yeah,
for husbands.
yeah.
Just shut up.
Just shut your mouth
Listen.
and listen. You know.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're learning that. So I don't think it's emotional tolerance, but it's also just we're very patient with each other. Even on the way here, we had like a conversation about a holiday
Okay.
at the end of the year.
Yeah.
And she's like, you know, I don't want to do it, but like you should do it. I'm like, but we should agree on the thing. She's like, no, dude, we don't have to agree. She said something really nice. She was like, just because I don't agree doesn't mean I won't support you.
Okay. There's the healthy disagreeing.
Yeah.
That doesn't have to be this aggressive conflictual thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know.
Did
so I
fatherhood
admire
come
that.
naturally to you? You said for Lesotho, motherhood or some traits of it came naturally. Did it come naturally for you?
It's it's hard. We planned the child, so we both knew what we were trying to achieve or where we were going, and I love my daughter. I don't know. It's naturally means like it's a feeling that was always there.
So like you'll get like guys who say my partner or my wife knows how to mom in whatever they imagine a mom to be, and they'll describe themselves as struggling to do this and and you'll hear people throwing out phrases like, no, women are better at nurturing or women are better at this stuff. For you, whatever you imagine it takes to raise a child, did those skills or tools come naturally to you?
I think so.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, I think so. Yeah,
Okay.
I enjoy it.
Yeah.
I enjoy it.
How old is she now?
1 year old.
1 year.
Yeah.
Okay, there's a personality there. Who would you say she's more like?
Bruh, that person is her own. I'm like, where?
Where do you
where do you get this? Where do you get this attitude? No,
Okay. Okay.
I can't tell you yet.
And you once shared that you believe that people innately have what they need inside of them,
Right.
right? So for you, what would you want your daughter to grow up knowing that she has inside of her?
Bravery.
Okay.
Bravery, empathy, strength, the ability to start and finish, and love. To love. Yeah, the ability to love. I mean, these are things I whisper in her ear every time she falls asleep, you know what I'm saying? But we plant these things at the end of the day. But yeah, I'd love her to know that she's strong, that she's capable.
Seeds.
Yeah, that she's capable. Yeah.
Kids don't do what we tell them to do. They do what they see.
Yeah.
And you have lived a life that emulates those qualities. So I have no doubt that she's going to just naturally have that activated.
Thank you. I hope so. There's that thing I read where it said strong men create weak children, and weak children, like a So it's like almost a generational thing. It's like you won't immediately transfer like what made you, like what made me is like, it's not necessarily great. It's not necessarily something I'd wish for my child.
Right.
So it's almost like you don't know what you're creating next.
Right.
Because she's going to have life way easier.
I had a mentor who said to me, parents should not only save for education, but for therapy as well, because every parent messes up somewhere.
Yeah.
So, but then she also said you have to consistently, every day, every instance, mess up to be a bad parent.
Right.
So you can only be good enough.
Yeah.
And what it sounds like you and your wife are doing sounds good enough and healthy. And then the therapy that you're going to then save up for people like me,
Yeah.
is the unknown of what is going to be created
Right.
in this. There's no such thing as perfect
No.
or perfect parenting. And this is where the grace, taking the picture of my parents,
Yeah.
what was helpful and what was not, and what
Yeah.
do I forgive, what do I give compassion towards, and what do I then create comes in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. One day at a time.
One day at a time.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Bonko.
Thank you.
Thank you. I really appreciate your time, the conversation. As I said, this space is for somebody to see the person behind the person, see what they're going to take from it, and not this idealized, I even feel calmer now. I'm no longer like, I don't know if you feel the energy. I'm no longer like fanning out, because I got to see the human behind the human.
Got you.
And I've taken my own lessons from that.
Got you.
So here at home, we have a bit of a way to end.
Okay.
Okay, which requires you to trust me for like 2 minutes.
Okay.
Your wife is here anyway. I can't do anything crazy. She'll pull us out.
Okay.
I need you to close your eyes.
Okay.
And then take a deep breath. And as you're taking that deep breath and exhaling out, I want you to just tune into your 5 senses. See the images in your mind. Hear the sounds that your ears are catching on to. Smell what you're smelling. Feel what your jeans feel like in your hands. Taste whatever was in your mouth. You were having a coffee. And think out loud with me for 30 seconds. I want you to think blooming butterfly. So Bonko, blooming But-I-Fly. What comes up for you? What is next for you?
Like what I see in my head?
Yeah? What comes?
Clouds.
Clouds,
Yeah.
okay.
Clouds.
Mm-hmm.
And mountains, like peaks.
Okay.
Like a peak of a mountain, clouds, skies, type of thing.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Is that it? That's what's next up for you? Clouds and mountains?
Mm.
Okay.
Planes.
Planes.
Airplane.
Travel, okay. Okay.
Yeah, the mountain's kind of turning into a volcano.
Volcano. Interesting imagery. Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Eagles. Right?
Eagles.
There's an eagle. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Whatever those things mean to you. Thank you for sharing that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. I hope that you will enjoy this episode as much as I've enjoyed having the conversation. And I'll see you again next time.